Oh, there were so many points. Oh my goodness. Me as a new nonprofit, just like everything, the way you say the things, the way you transition, the transitional words you use, the then I wasn't expecting you to be so nice. So you're dealing, I figure you're dealing with these mega multi-million dollar donation things, and I figured you'd be more like I don't know, different, stricter. It bad thoughts in my mind. But you're just so nice and so encouraging. It makes me want to just let go out there and go today and go talk to people. So thank you. And oh, one more thing. Ordóñez, my husband's family, their second last name is Ordóñez. I'm like sitting here saying, Ordóñez. Oh wow, I know that name.
I think I forget about the why me? Why are you asking this person for this particular gift? And it's a big reminder. I'm um I'm ready. I have a little background about this guy I can share. So okay. I'm Bridget Tharp. I'm development director for Columbus Speech and Hearing. So we're based in Central Ohio. We have been around 100 years, and we started out as a community of deaf and hard of hearing people who wanted to create job opportunities for themselves and their friends. And now, 100 years later, we have sign language classes, support services for the deaf blind, a speech language pathology program that mostly serves kids, and audiology that's 70% seniors, 30% kids. And in the state of Ohio, there's no rule that insurance has to cover pediatric hearing aids. So most of these families are paying right out of pocket. So so there's definitely a lot of financial need component in what we do. So my pitch, so I'm a year and a half into this job. We had a wealth screening tool, which we identified several people who look like they could do a six-figure gift. We haven't asked for six-figure gifts since 2009, which was our last campaign. So that's the direction I'm going. So this is David. One of our board members helped me identify him. On paper, he looks like he has the capacity. He gave me $4,000 last year. Both were unsolicited gifts after conversations with this board member. During our meeting, he told me all his kids are millionaires, so that they're not going to need money from him after he's passed. He is a real estate investor, and he's collected like the historic bricks under the pavement of the buildings that he owns. So he's invested a lot in the history of our city and trying to keep it together. So I'm hoping to call him next week because he's building a big garage and he's like, let me wait until the project's over so I can know how much money I could possibly give you because I told him I'd like to make a big ask of you. So, um, I plan to start, thank you for your first time investment last year. You were one of our top 3 individual donors last year, which is really impressive as a first time donor. I know how passionate you are about this community and that you have lifelong friends here. So I wanted to share with you what we've identified as our largest community need here in Central Ohio, and that's hearing aids for lower income seniors and families. So we serve 8,000 people a year, which he knows. We also have a county grant of 150,000 that gives free screenings and hearing aids for about 100 seniors every year. But we always have a waiting list of people left over that we couldn't get to. So if we were going to clear that waiting list right now, the money ran out this year in August, it would cost us an additional $75,000 to put hearing aids on every other low income senior that wants them. It's also the third most common chronic health issue in older adults, but can lead to bigger problems, including dementia. So it's something that we feel really passionate about solving. He also, the last conversation we had, we didn't really talk as much about children, but 30% of our audiology clients are children. And we really spend a lot of time helping those families apply for grants to pay for those first hearing aids for those kids. So that really costs us about another 25,000 every year because the audiologist's time is spent doing that instead of using billable time. So if we were going to solve this problem with you, would you be willing to make a $300,000 pledge over 3 years? That'd be 100,000 for the next 3 years that would meet this need every single year. I think there's I think there's probably information overload in here. I could definitely make this a little bit shorter. I think connecting him to our history, I did well. Um, you know, I see how many friends and relationships he has in the community, and I know how passionate he is. He wouldn't do the kind of work that he does if he didn't care about preserving our history as a city. So here's a group of people that we want to preserve and make sure they age really well in town. And if we leave them without hearing aids, they're going to have other health problems really, really quickly. So I think he sees that because he sees his friends in the community not aging as well as he is able to because he has provided for himself and his family really well. Um, I think since he's a businessman, he needs the stats. So making sure there's some numbers in there is going to be important for him. I think the last person's pitch was really fast. So I thought I should get it done fast because I don't want to take up too much time. But there are a lot of stats in here. So I can definitely get rid of some of them. But yeah, I definitely do feel anxious. It's like, okay, I don't want you to lose interest before I tell you everything you need to know before you say, yeah, I don't know. This is like, yeah, yeah. Yeah. He does care, and he's interesting because he doesn't have a top charity. The last time I met with him, he was going to a charity event for a new charity. He's sort of shopping, right? Like he's shopping for a charity that fits with his values. And I feel like we do, but he's also looking elsewhere. He's not the most loyal, right? As a first time donor. He got hearing aids from us. He's worked with us for a while. He knows who we are. He lives across the street. Literally, he drives by us every time he leaves his house, but we didn't even know him until last year. Well, a lot of donors I meet with will say, I'm also involved in this other charity. This is my other top charity. And he's one where he doesn't really have that. He's still working. He's older, but he's still very focused on business, but he's not a philanthropist with a lot of focus. He doesn't have one thing. He's sort of like trying or that I can predict what you like to give to because you have a type of cause. And I'm not sure that he has a type of cause. He might just be open to any kind of ask. Major gifts for 6 years. I've done fundraising for longer, but a lot of it has been annual giving. I do. Well, in my head, I want to get to that number. I want it to be a nice round six-figure ask because the gap is 75. And it's like, well, I want to stick with audiology because that's kind of what he understands. But it'd be harder to justify six figures just for the senior program. We do we can do unrestricted as well, but I lead our development team and grants is often restricted. Um, our grant writer does a lot of that, but I've been building our annual giving program for the last year, but now major gifts needs to be more of a priority. So I've been trying to identify those people, and most of them we haven't had conversations with before. So I don't want to wait too long to make an ask. Um, I might only get one visit with them, so I want to make it count, but I also don't want to pull the trigger too soon. So this guy, I met him last year, but now enough time has passed that it's like, okay, it's probably time to have a real conversation about a meaningful gift that make a big impact for us. He, I mean, not really. When he talked to our board member, he hadn't made the connection that we were a nonprofit, but he had a good experience with us. So once he learned that we were a nonprofit, then he wrote a check and then he wrote another check.
Why not?
Cool. Thank you. It is helpful. My connection to our mission is more on the kid side. So it's not a perfect path back to him and what I'd be asking him for. But I have foster kids and they've all needed speech services and there's a connection to literacy. But, you know, since the pandemic, kids fail hearing and speech screenings more often in our community. So something happened. It's more of a crisis than it has been before. Yeah. I think I'm good. I mean, we have this list of people and not everyone's going to meet with me. Not everyone's going to talk to me. You know, I think we're at a point where we kind of widen our list, ask for introductions from board members because it does make a difference to get in there with this guy having a board connection is really huge. It's kind of warmer. It's a warmer conversation. I think I'm good for now. I would love to do Courage Lab at some point. I've been listening to your podcast.
Hey y'all again. I have no idea. I mean, I talk for a living, so I don't know why I'm even nervous about this. I think because I totally over prepared. I had a whole presentation, but I'm like, oh, this is what
Move
we're
in
doing.
Day Mafia with
Yes.
JJ Mercer, TJ Mercer.
So, yes, I am TJ Mercer. I am the founder of Move In Day Mafia, and we provide dorm room makeovers and monthly care packages for students at HBCUs, which are historically Black colleges and universities. We provide care packages and we move them in um, and take care of them for 4 years, basically. And I'm totally new to the nonprofit space. My background is TV. I've worked in Hollywood for over 25 years on some of the biggest TV shows and films. And so this is all very new to me. But we just turned 2 in August. We have done amaze balls. I am blown away by what has happened. I think I'm nervous of this conversation is because we've done so well in the corporate space. And so I've never pitched even in corporate. They've come looking for us. And to my point, I do this for a living, I talk. And so even just Tuesday, I met a woman at an event and she turns out she's a decision maker at Wells Fargo and she pledged $38,000 to us to take care of. And yeah. So Yeah, and, and that's happened with Amazon 2 weeks ago, came to us and gave us 10,000. So, I'm having conversations about it, but this is the first time I've been strategic and want to learn how to position the conversations for major donors. And the last thing I want to say as a backstory is Sherry Shepherd, the talk show host. She used to be on The View. Now she has her own Emmy-winning talk show. And she's a big cheerleader of ours. She played Celebrity Jeopardy for us. And as a result, we got 30,000. And so the donors I want to talk to, because after that appearance, Julie, we started getting $1,000 checks, $5,000 checks in the mail. Like nobody was calling to ask to have a conversation. Nobody was vetting us. And so in my mind, and I could be wrong, when you're just sending $5,000 checks, that means that's could be your petty cash, that there was no hoops we had to jump through. And so one of the things I want to do is reach out to those donors and have a conversation with them, because I don't necessarily know that they came from Celebrity Jeopardy. We started getting checks when we were featured on CNN. So I want to have those kind of conversations. And I think that's the profile of my donor for this purpose. Someone who has never met me, maybe that they saw us on CNN or they saw us on Celebrity Jeopardy, but and they would just move to give, but they don't necessarily really know us. So I yeah, so kind of a cold call that they've donated, but they don't know me or the organization necessarily. Yes. Okay. Okay, so my alias's name is Julie. To make it easy. And they were a donor that sent 5K to us without having a conversation about us. Okay. All right. Hey, Julie. So, first of all, let me just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your generous donation. And one of the things I wanted to do is just meet you and want to let you know a little bit more about me and the mafia. And the first thing I would say is I walk in miracles. And being on the phone with you actually is a perfect example of walking in miracles, because we got a check from you. And I wanted to know, first of all, how did you hear about us? Where did you read about us or hear about us? Because I know we've done a lot of media. Uh, Oh, awesome. I love that. Now, do you have a connection to a foster care, or did you come out of foster care? What really drew you to our mission? Mhm. Ah, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Are there other causes that are really, really dear to your heart? Because, I'm going to keep it 100 with you, Julie. My goal is to become your favorite. So, are there other causes that are dear to you? Okay. 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 Well, let me just, share how I ended up in this space. I learned that 70% of kids in foster care actually dream of going to college, and yet only 3% go. and 1% graduate. In fact, the reason why I started Mafia is because I met a young lady who, when she went to her HBCU, she was driven to campus by her social worker. She had aged out of the system. Her social worker just dropped her off and left her. Well, I'm a graduate of the Howard University, and that was so not my move-in experience. And I was brokenhearted at hearing her story. And so I decided to do something about it because apparently she is a part of that 3% who beat the odds to go. And so for us, I want to make sure that these kids are not struggling with deodorant. They're not struggling with detergent. They're not struggling with toothpaste, things that we take for granted. Did you, if you don't mind me asking, did you go to college? Have you experienced a move-in day? Okay, so when you moved in, did you move in with family and yeah, so you know what it's like to arrive with a whole family doting on you. They picked out your colors and your room and everything. But exactly, but you had some kind of coordination of someone helping you. Our scholars don't have that. Oftentimes, they show up with maybe a suitcase. I had one scholar who showed up with his backpack. And so for us, we have to do something about it because at Mafia, we want to increase that ratio of 1% graduating. And so, like I said, we've only done this for 2 years. We've had 3 move-in days. Our first year, we started off with 13 students at one HBCU. We doubled last year and moved in 31 students at 5 HBCUs. And this past August, we moved in 40 scholars because of your generosity, 40 scholars at 19 HBCUs. We started off with 17,000 our first year. Second year, we raised 150,000. And this year, we're at 160,000. And the year is not over. Our volunteers, we've gone from 13 volunteers our first year. Second year, we had a database of 300 volunteers. And this year, 1,000 volunteers signed up to help us get these kids moved in. So it's becoming a movement. And I want to know, will you help us demolish the foster care to prison pipeline and build a foster care to HBCU graduate pipeline? And the last thing I want to tell you as far as what our goals are, the goal is $260,000 to move in kids in 2025. We want to move in 44 scholars, no, 52 scholars in 2025. But leaning on my Hollywood experience, I'm also turning Move-In Day Mafia into a dorm room makeover show. So we need another 100,000 to go ahead and get that show edited and do the marketing around it. I actually want an Emmy for this type of show, so I really know what I'm doing. And so we need your help, and I want to be able to align with you to walk in even more miracles. Does any of that resonate with you? Good. That I was done. Um, what I did well is y- people, it don't take much to know I love what I'm doing. It doesn't take much to tell that I am excited about the movement and the mission of Mafia. I think that comes across really, really well. Um, Another thing that I'm gifted at is getting people on board, for the mission in some kind of way, whether that's monetary or volunteer perspective. So I know that's what I'm automatically good at. So yeah, and it's in the numbers of, I've sold this thing, with multi-billion dollar companies at this point. So I know I do that part well. Um, I would like to think I painted the picture that even if you haven't